Well, we should all be very excited that we are on the road to WrestleMania. We've got to get through Super Showdown first. It's like a damn sub-boss in a video game. You just want to get to the proper villain and finish the damn thing and see the credits, but no, you got this fat pig just getting in the way. Said pig because I was thinking about Zelda. Either you know or you don't know, it doesn't matter. But let's not worry about that just yet. Let's talk about the most recent episode of WWE SmackDown, which continues to be an interesting tamale of a wrestling show. I mean, some bits I like, some bits are kind of just there, and then when it's done, you're like, well, it was entertaining enough. My name is Simon Miller, and welcome to What Culture Wrestling. This is the Finger of Power, and this is Ups and Downs. What? No, let's up those downs. So as I just insinuated, the start to SmackDown was fine. WWE does seem to have gone back to this pattern in thinking they have to have an opening promo if they are going to put on a wrestling show, but it was the Usos. I like the Usos, so they can have it up. They were out to say that John Morrison and The Miz are just a bunch of dicks, which I guess they are, and build up their 8-man tag team match, which was going to go down in a few minutes. And because they were teaming with The New Day, they said the tag team's name, and out came Big E and Kofi Kingston, because that is the magic of World Wrestling. And really, given that they were going to be on the same side, this didn't go well at all, because the New Day were saying how great the Usos were and just bowing in front of them saying, you're the best, you're the best. But unfortunately, you're not as good as us. And they're in each other's faces and you were like, guys, you need to calm down. You're meant to win a match in a few seconds. Luckily, they did get interrupted by The Miz and John Morrison. Everybody just calmed down. And there was just a lot of yelling for a while. Obviously, The Miz and John Morrison are going to win the tag team titles in Saudi Arabia. Who really cares? WWE doesn't. That tag team division never does a damn thing. And eventually, Dolphy Ziggles and Bobby Boy Roode are out here. And there you go. They're your two teams. And somebody pulled the start trigger, or rang the bell, because that's what you do in wrestling. And away they went. And really, WWE has a very good track record. When it comes to 8-man tag team matches, they're always just a load of fun. It can have it up. I kind of do feel like I've seen a variation of this match for the last 45 years, but as soon as Big E got that hot tag and start running wild, I was like, man, Big E is just the greatest person who has ever lived since the world came into creation, so I'm not going to get very upset. There was also a very cool near fall on him after John Morrison had smashed him with a Shining Wizard and a standing moonsault, and we do always have to remind ourselves that John Morrison is an excellent professional wrestler, and I still can't believe he's come back to the company and they're using him in this role. I would have moved him higher up the card, but let's keep our fingers crossed for the future. Of course, when you do look at all 8 men, though, there was only one person who was going to take the fall, and that was the sometimes moustached Bobby Roode. He did indeed get super kicked by Jey Uso. He fell down as he is wont to do. 1, 2, 3, and this was done. And yeah, it was an okay opening to SmackDown. And there's nothing wrong with okay. We also got another glitch during this match, and we got another one later on too during a backstage vignette, and we saw it better, or at least I saw it better. It's like a blue flower with like dots in it, so either Captain Planet is about to come to WWE, or as some very astute people on the internet said, it does look like that thing Ali does. Remember Ali, who has vanished from our television screens? He used to do that, kapow, and he had this blue circular thingy, and it looked like this. So maybe this is the return of Ali. I mean, why he's in the production truck going and causing glitches, I don't know. But look, as long as he's happy, I ain't going to criticise it. Drew Gulak then approached Daniel Bryan and clearly learned nothing from Heath Slater a couple of weeks ago. Because he was just like, look, Daniel Bryan, you're really crap, right? And if you talk to me, I will help you. I've even made a PowerPoint presentation if you will indulge me. And just think about that. Think about you went to a meeting at work, you didn't really know what was going on, and the person leading said meeting went, right, today, the presentation is on how Steve, you're Steve in this scenario, how Steve is absolutely crap at his job. You look around and be like, this it's unbelievable. Heath also hadn't learned from his own ass whooping because he popped up as soon as he heard his name. And as Daniel Bryan very calmly said, he goes, well, if you two think I'm such a bad wrestler, why don't you come together and try and come up with a plan? Because me and Heath, we shall have a rematch later. All of this is very, very strange. Then, however, we got a twist in the tale. Damn you, Sonya Deville. Damn you. Tucker marched up to Mandy Rose and Sonya and said he He wanted answers. He told us how devastated Otis has been and that he can't even leave the hotel room, and that last week before his date, not only did he brush his hair, do I miss brushing my hair, but he'd also bought new underwear. Now, we don't need lines like that. Like, Otis can be a lovable goof, but also have good hygiene. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. As Mandy pointed out, though, the only reason she went on a date with Dolphy Ziggles is because, as far as she was concerned, Otis never turned up. And then Tucker had a counterpoint to that when he went, "Ha ha, Mandy Rose, but that's only because you texted Otis saying you were running late." And then Mandy went, "What are you talking about? I didn't text no one." And you know who butted in? Oh, Sonya Deville, or should I say Cruella Deville, because she has a heart of steel. She was like, "I don't know what anybody's talking about. Look, everyone just needs to calm down." Tucker then stormed away because he was super pissed off, and Mandy admitted that she was looking forward to her date with Otis. And then Sonya was like, well, you're more of a Dolph Ziggler girl anyway. So we all know what you're doing, Sonya Deville. For some reason, you don't want Mandy Rose and Otis to come together and become the greatest partnership we've ever seen in the history of everything. So I'm just mad at you. I'm really, really mad at you. How could you do this to my boy? I don't know why I'm so invested in this, but I am. Let's get it up. Right, who went to WWE and actually reminded them that they haven't given us a very good explanation when it comes to Lacey Evans? Because after months of her being a babyface, it's like someone went, "Oh no, we forgot to run the bit where we explain, oh, we didn't run it. But look, better late than never. We can have it up." Basically, Lacey Evans was doing an interview with Renee Young, and as she was talking about bullies, Renee rightfully called out Evans and went, "But wait, Chickadee, you were a bully recently too, because you used to walk around calling everybody nasties." Look, the excuse wasn't great. Lacey was all like, "Yeah, but where I come from, nasties is a term of endearment." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I do that all the time. When I go and see my mother and she comes out, she wraps her arms around me and gives me a hug, I push her away and I spit in her face and I go, you're such a nasty." We don't have a very good relationship. Point is that she learned the error of her ways by watching Bayley and watching Sasha Banks be bullies. So now the bully has become the bullied, and she understands that she shouldn't have done it. Now, that's very lame, it's very weak, but I do appreciate the fact that WWE addressed it. Now we can actually just move on from it. All right. I mean, I did feel a little bit like a goober when all was said and done, but I am a goober. It was then a Sympathy of Destruction match, and for some reason, Dave Mustaine was nowhere in sight. It was just a no-holds-barred bout, but there were instruments strung around ringside, and of course it featured Braun Strowman teaming up with Elias, taking on Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. But you've got to give these guys their due. They made this really entertaining. They made it really, really enjoyable. My word, the finish came when Braun Strowman power slammed Shinsuke Nakamura on a piano, and I don't know if that piano was meant to break, but it did not. And I can only imagine as soon as he hit Shinsuke Nakamura's back went, "What are you doing, pal? We need this to walk around." But still, getting it up. I do have an issue with this though, because I'm a massive wrestling geek, and it kind of ties in to what's happening on Raw. Because here we have Braun Strowman, the Intercontinental Champion, the brand new Intercontinental Champion, and yet he is more interested in being in tag teams with Elias and basically ignoring his belt. And then on Raw you have the Kabuki Warriors, the Women's Tag Team Champions, and they are more interested in being in single feuds against the likes of Becky Lynch and Natalya. I don't know why it irked me so much today, but even though I was enjoying the match, I'm still like, can we just put people in proper feuds so we can raise up these titles? It's like going 2 + 2 = 937. And because of that, it's a down. Other highlights did include Cesaro getting hit by a drum and Sami Zayn, who obviously was on the outside, hitting Braun Strowman with a keyboard. So I did get my laughs in. That was just a ridiculous thing to watch. But of course, he didn't get pinned, but Cesaro was on the losing team. That's why I'm bringing down my Swiss stock super meter thingamabob. I always forget the name because it's genuinely ludicrous at this stage. We've been doing this for ages and Cesaro has never, ever, ever, ever won. Then the Baron Corbin interview. Seriously, just flub this. Flub it so hard. Down. I don't like getting mad. I understand what he's saying and he's saying it to wind me up. But the words, well, Roman Reigns has never actually beaten me in a one-on-one match, came out of his stupid mouth. Yes, he has, Baron Corbin, you stupid king. He beat you at the Royal Rumble in a Falls Count Anywhere match, and that is one-on-one. Don't try and justify this nonsense anymore. In fact, obviously they're having a steel cage match at Super Showdown, and I hope that Roman Reigns decapitates Baron Corbin, because that way no one backstage can go, oh, we can carry on this feud. No, you can't, unless you want to do something with Baron Corbin's severed head. That was too much. I've gone too far. I'm gonna beep, that's me backing up. just done with this. A moment of bliss was quite nice though. It featured the Bella twins and they were just out here to say, yes, we are going in the Hall of Fame, we are pregnant, and we're just super happy. You know how it finished too? It finished with Daniel Bryan and Bree's kid coming out, and she was like the happiest thing that you'd ever seen in your entire life. Just nice, it was heartwarming, I ain't got no problem with it. This also allowed Daniel to have his match against Heath Slater, and if it wasn't for the fact that the 2 times these two have met, Daniel Bryan has just whooped his ass, I go, well, I guess they're starting some kind of program here with them and Drew Gulak, who was on commentary. But yeah, that's what Daniel Bryan did here. It was like fighting, I don't know, an elephant. That was actually quite hard, an elephant. It's like fighting a fly. He just won really easily. So where do you go next? But it was all right. Gulak's role too was to keep shouting instructions at Heath Slater, which the one-man band ignored. Like he climbed up to the top rope at one point. Drew Gulak was like, don't do that, you idiot. But he did it anyway and missed. And look, there was this one moment when Heath Slater rolled up Daniel Bryan for a close near count. I was like, oh, I actually thought he was going to win. Eventually stood up, got smacked in the face with the running knee. And again, yeah, he lost. And he probably lasted, 90 seconds? Wasn't very long. So yeah, again, what do we do now? And my worry is that Vince McMahon is going to go back to the well that he had like 10 years ago and just put Sheamus against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Honestly, go look it up on Google. There was a time where every year, that is what Vince wanted to do. Doesn't matter that he'd done it before. It doesn't matter that he probably wanted to do it in the future. He just wanted WrestleMania to be Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus. So you're born, you pay your taxes, you get Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus at WrestleMania, and then you die. So I'll presume we're going to do that again. I then got a little bit worried because we flew to the backstage area. Mandy Rosa decided, well, I don't care that SmackDown isn't over. I've decided to go home and leave. And she was waiting for a cab when Dolph Ziggler came up and said, hey, I'm driving, I'm a big boy. Why don't you get in my car? And quite innocently, Mandy Rose did. But hiding behind some boxes was Otis. And he came out there and obviously he looked all upset. But he also came across a little bit creepy. Don't want Otis to turn into the creepy guy. I want him to be the sympathetic, empathetic dude. So that, yeah, was just a little bit worrying, but I hope that is nothing. I hope that was just bad framing, and he's not going to become Otis the Stalker. There's more glitches too, so who the hell knows? Maybe it is Ali, maybe it's not. Before Sheamus did another one of his videos where he was like, I'm done with that biscuit Shorty G, I'm going after bigger things. That's obviously a pun, and he's going to enter the Elimination Chamber. And then just to get you really confused, we cut to Shorty G and Apollo Crews went, well, I am going to go and try and deal with Sheamus, and he stormed off. So that makes all the sense in the world, but if nothing else, this short-lived partnership between these two goofs is over. Naomi versus Carmella was next to see who was going to fight Bayley at Super Showdown, and I will say that it was also okay. It was like a theme of this episode of SmackDown. I understand it got a bit wishy-washy there in the middle, but look, there was lots of effort, and it was quite harmless. It can have enough. Bayley was at ringside until she got thrown out of there because she did keep making a nuisance of herself, and eventually Naomi hit the split-legged moonsault, meaning yes, at Super Showdown, it's Bayley versus Naomi. Somewhat of a surprise because I thought we'd hold it off till WrestleMania. But again, it's just there. It's like this. So if I'd walked past it on the street, I wouldn't even have stared at it. Again, that pay-per-view is just getting in the way. And you're gonna have to forgive me too, but I really loved the closing angle of the show. Give it up. Firstly, Goldberg was finally live in the arena, and the reaction he got, it made me feel alive. We could stand here all day and debate this whole thing about, well, the old stars feel like stars, the new stars don't feel like stars, but just take it in the moment. Brilliant. Because the crowd erupted for Bill and continued to chant his name, and if you closed your eyes, you could just pretend that you were back in the late 90s. And I miss the late 90s. When I had hair. He started to talk about how he was going to ruin The Fiend at the pay-per-view until, of course, he was interrupted by the Firefly Funhouse. And Bray Wyatt was there and he was introducing Goldberg to all of his friends, including Ramblin' Rabbit, who is a massive Goldberg fan. And he shouldn't have said that because Bray Wyatt squished him dead. But they said there's one other person that would like to meet Billy Boy. And the lights went out. Now here's where some people seem to have been getting a bit mad, and I don't understand why. Because when the lights came back on, the Fiend was standing behind Goldberg, but Goldberg couldn't give two hoots. In fact, he was looking the other way and he just went, I know who's behind me. It's the Fiend. And he turned around like the Fiend was his grandma. He slammed Wyatt with a massive spear, which the Fiend actually sold. So freaked out and so scared about this, the lights went out again. When they came back on, he had used his magical powers to disappear, because I assume he actually a little bit intimidated by Goldberg. So straight away there's people going, well, why is Goldberg allowed to do this and nobody else? Well, I'll tell you why. I have 3 reasons. 1, it was different and cool, which is what you need. 2, this is literally Bill's whole thing. So if you take that away from him, why are you bringing him in the first place? And 3, it is very likely that Goldberg will lose on Thursday in Saudi Arabia. So you've got to give him something to make fans go, well, maybe he's going to win the Universal title. He's not. I'm 99% sure that he's not, but now at least I can believe. Now at least I can dream. Also, for a closing angle on SmackDown that lasted around about 10 minutes, it did everything that it needed to do. So just enjoy it for it was, and as always, Goldberg, my dad, I love you. It was great to see you back on my television set, but I will agree with you that it was a very harmless episode of SmackDown. I kind of want a bit more guts, and I want a bit more soul. We don't crap on things when they're just fine and they're just okay. So there's my spinning arrow. Overall, it gets an up. But fingers crossed next week, when Super Showdown is out the way, we can start doing things properly. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of SmackDown. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. Watch more videos here on What Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon from What Culture. Thank you very much for watching me. And if you have been keeping up to date with my health issues this week on Ups and Downs, I will say I'm now back to about 65%. That still sucks, but we're making it through.